Hey, beautiful souls, Mirv here, and I help you live a healthier, happier with hypnosis. And I'm collaborating today with my good friend here and colleague, Rebecca.
Hello, hi Merv. Happy to be back. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about this conversation today.
Yes, yes, me too. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, and Rebecca's as well, is we're going to go ahead and collaborate with talking about nutrition, weight loss, and mindset, right?
Yay! Yes, can't
Yes.
do it without the mindset.
Absolutely, you can't do it without the mindset. And I use this quote a lot. It goes something like this, and I'm sure Rebecca, you've heard it, and the viewers have heard it. Is the way you do one thing is the way you do everything, or how you do one thing is how you do everything. And we're gonna definitely get back into talking about nutrition, weight loss, and mindset. And Rebecca, you want to just introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, hi guys. Rebecca here from Vibe Mentor, helping you raise your vibration so you can live your best life. So, pretty much everything I talk about is obviously raising your vibration is going to allow you to create a life that you love and reach your highest potential. And we were just talking about what percentage of that is mindset, and it really is 100%. So, without the right mindset, we're not going to be able to accomplish any of the goals that we set in life, whether it's health and wellness, abundance, a fit body, any of the external desires that we tend to want have to come from the right place inside. So I love talking altering all things nutrition, and so really excited to dig into how they all connect, because you can't try to achieve one without the other, and so the holistic approach is necessary.
Yes, yes, I love that. Absolutely. And Rebecca and I are going to share our backgrounds, our actually history and our stories about nutrition and how it actually impacted us and helped our lives to becoming, the coaches that we are, whether we're health coaches, mindset coaches, even intuitive coaches. So nutrition to me, and I'm sure Rebecca can relate, is very, very important with starting anything throughout your day, into thinking, into energy, into mindset work, into a movement of every day. So I'd love if you started this time, Rebecca, on explaining yourself or introducing how you got, so much into nutrition, or how nutrition affected you mindset wise, weight loss wise, whatever you were able to get impacted from nutrition in general, have due
Sure.
to the
Yeah.
fact that you were in corporate before, and going from corporate to where you are now as a coach, and how it's affected you or impacted your life moving forward, even with the clients that you work with.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So obviously, it's intertwined throughout daily life, and it's interesting how there's so many different milestones in life that I could refer to. So I'll just kind of go back to the beginning, but had a pretty troubling childhood. Obviously, my parents did the best that they could, but they were not well equipped, and so there was a lot of lessons that I had to learn through life or to teach myself. And one of them was nutrition. In fact, that was one of the earliest ones. And my mom, not much of a chef. I love you, Mom. If you see this, this is no judgment here. But she did the best with what she was given when she was a child. And a lot of our dinners consisted of a box of noodles, a can of soup, and some kind of ground meat. And I was asked to help cook, and sometimes our vegetables were overcooked to the point that they were slimy. The Brussels sprouts were like balls of snot. I mean, it was not fun, and so I really struggled with food growing up. And then my father, on the other hand, he had this rule that you had to eat everything that's on your plate, and so one, we're dealing with unhealthy processed foods, not a whole lot of nutrition, and then two, not being able to listen to your body, and the portion sizes were not within my control, and so there was a time where I really noticed this discordant relationship with food, where I would sort of dread dinner, not really want to sit down and eat. We learned to hide our food so that we didn't have to eat all the food that we were too full to eat. And then even when I would want to eat, say, an orange, in having a snack, I would want to have 2 or 3 oranges, which I'm finding now is natural because we're so deprived from the vitamins and minerals we actually need that we want to, gorge on something healthy. And then there was guilt and shame around that. You're gaining too much weight, you're getting too big, you shouldn't eat sugar, you shouldn't have so many fruits, you're only supposed to have one, all these shoulds and these rules. And there was no room to listen
Mm.
to the body and listen to the needs and honor the needs. And then later in life, as I got a little bit older, my first job, I was really excited at 14 to get a job. And, the only place that would hire a 14-year-old with a work permit was McDonald's. So I ended up in, the belly of the beast, if you will. And of course, they gave you free lunch. And that was really the McDonald's moment, was probably the first eye-opening or a moment of consciousness where I ate that food and I instantly felt anxiety,
Wow.
depression. I just felt yuck come over me. And so I really started to notice what I put in my body makes me feel either good or bad, that there's an impact. And that was about 14 years old where I really started to become aware of what I'm going to choose to put in my body. And it's been a journey ever since. I've probably tried every diet out there. I even had a time of anorexia and not eating at all. And that, it's very interesting how our food habits are directly connected to our emotional environment and our external environment, and how I tried to control what I couldn't control around me through my food or my lack of food. And so many, many different points, like I said, throughout life where you learn and you grow and you overcome, and finally coming to a place where there's a healthy relationship with food and a healthy relationship with the body. And how when we struggle in our lives, often when we can become disconnected from our bodies, we don't want to feel the pain and we want to numb out, and so we literally detach from our bodies and we stop listening. And so to heal all of that, to experience all of that, to take little bits and pieces of it, to say this works for me and this doesn't, and this is what's right for me, because we're all unique and different. And then to heal it and to come back to the body and thank the body for all of the crap that we've put it through, and its tremendous beautiful ability to heal and to regenerate and to become completely new within 7 years. And then to form a relationship with your body. I'm covered in goosebumps as I say this, because yes, I'm talking about you. um, that it's fun to love on it now, to feel so good when you have a healthy salad or a green juice, and just to watch the vibration and the vibrancy just come alive and kind of ooze out of you when you take care of yourself. So long story short, there's much experience there, but I'm happy to finally have come full circle to a healthy place. So I'd love to hear your story. We've not
Yeah,
talked
I
about
love
that.
that. I love that. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for sharing. Oh my God. It's so interesting that we all kind of come from a similar background, or maybe it's the generation that we lived in. I'm not sure, before internet exploded, with like all the TikToks and Instagram and Facebook and healthy foods and eating. But I love the fact that yes, we do share the same background. However, my mom was actually a good cook, and, and she did cook a lot of delicious food. But my background is Middle Eastern, so our food is very rich in a lot of flavors and oils and salts and sodium, and obviously not to mention the desserts, the sweets that are just filled with so much sugar. And the problem with us, I guess, growing up is, or myself, is we were eating very late, at a very late time. Like dinner would be probably for us like 9 p.m., sometimes 10 p.m., which is really late. Or we'll have it like maybe 8 p.m. So dinner wasn't, like 5, 6, 7. It was obviously, later than that. And the fact that it was filled with carbs and sodiums and saltiness more than the actual, like, the veggies or the protein. um and then just growing up with a lot of like different flavors and different foods, and just knowing how to incorporate it into your daily habits, and the portions, not to mention the portions, because we would like literally eat a plate and a two and a three,
Hmm.
right? And I grew up with a military like dad, where, you know, like you said, your dad had to make you finish your plate. So everything had to be, you know, finished on the plate, because we lived in a world where, you know, there are poor people that can't afford to eat food.
Yeah.
So we were always reminded that, wow, appreciate the food on your plate, eat all of it, even if you're full, because it's not supposed to go to waste.
Yep.
And I learned that the hard way, right?
Same excuse too. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's like, no, you have to eat it. So growing up obviously with that mentality, but the good thing about me is that I was very active. I was into sports. I played sports my whole life, and I competed in like CrossFit in my adulthood. And so I was very fit and athletic throughout my life, and I was able to eat everything I wanted, but obviously within moderation. Because you can't like have, you know, carbs and then go, you know, play a soccer game, because, you know, then you won't be able to run. So I was able to maneuver around that until when I hit my depression, which was like 3 years ago, when I lived in Dubai, and I went through this heavy depression for a year. And that's when I gave up on myself, and I started to just binge, binge, binge. And I do struggle from binging. That's been my problem ever since I was younger. Like,
Mm.
I can binge on food. I don't have control to stop. So that's why I control myself now, because I've learned to control myself now, because if I don't, I can just literally keep binging on anything, that, because I love food in general.
Yeah.
So so when I went through my depression and I needed to transform my life all over again, and learn what foods does to your body. Like you said, like when you eat salad, you feel so good and energized, and opposed to like waking up in the morning and having a bagel. Like having a bagel, that can mess up your energy level,
Yeah.
opposed to having like you know, a green juice or a smoothie or something lighter, or an apple, peanut butter, right? Something lighter, fatty, has protein. So I had to experiment a little bit with my body to see what works and what doesn't work. Like, I grew up again with eating meats. I have meat every day, red meat even every day, every other day. And that's, to me, is protein, because I work out. But had I known that it's actually affecting my body in a bad way, my energy levels, my blood level, all that, then I would have probably stopped it. But I experimented with my life or my body, and I stopped red meat for a while. And I could remember, Rebecca, so well, that my energy level was so much better. I felt lighter. I started to actually, you know, like lose weight, because I wasn't as bloated anymore.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I love red meat. There's no way I can cut red meat out. So I cut it out for a while, and it affected me in a positive way. And so now, like, I treat myself like once a month, and I'll have like a steak, opposed to having, you know, red meat every other day like I used to. So so once I started to experiment and started to understand what foods does to my body, and obviously becoming a certified health coach, learned a lot along the way. At the end of all this, what's making me act this way? What's making me cut red meat, or calm down on the red meat, and eat more veggies or more fruits, or understanding that I can still have sugar from my broccoli, instead of like having sugar from like you know, a piece of chocolate. Like, how did I understand all this? First off, it started from my willpower, from my mindset, is that I wanted to change my life. I didn't want to be depressed. I didn't want to be overweight anymore. And I wanted to do something for myself. I wanted to actually do something different. And I knew it's going to come with sacrifices.
Hmm.
I knew I had to let go of a lot of things in my life, or the comfortable lifestyle that I was in, with eating everything I want. So that mindset came 100% mindset, like you said earlier. And then 80% was my food and my nutrition, what I insert into my mouth, that affects my health and my physical part. And then the 20% was movement. And I also experimented, because, you know, I was an athlete. I experimented with actually losing weight, Rebecca, without working out,
Yep. Yeah.
just by nutrition itself. And
Yeah.
all my like friends around me and my family, they're like, Mirv, you look really good. Like, are you working out? I'm like, honestly, for once, I can say I'm not working out, because I used to always be the person that's working out. I was like, oh my God, for 3 months, I experimented with focusing on my nutrition, 80% nutrition, 20% movement. Maybe I would like, you know, stretch or do yoga. not like all the time, but just movement.
Yep.
And 100% was my mindset that I wanted to change my life, to transform my life. And I remember when I did that, I lost 25 pounds just like that. And I even looked better than when I was in my 20s as an athlete,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So for me, just focusing on the nutrition part, on the veggies, on the fruits, you can really get yourself you can really get the sugar, the sugars and the fatty and the proteins from the good quality of produces or nutrients, rather than the chocolates and the candy and the binging on candy. And so like for me, I grew up in a mentality of um if I starve myself, I'll lose weight.
Yeah.
Or if I don't eat anything,
Mark.
okay, then I'll lose weight. Or if I don't eat food, but I'll have a bag of chips because it's later, then I'll
Mm.
lose weight. That was my mentality because I didn't know any better. So I recommend, like people to really experiment with their bodies, and I'm sure you have as well. Um, so that's been my story with like losing weight and just focusing on nutrition. And until now, I swear to God, like when I wake up, I look forward for having breakfast, which is something light and healthy and full of nutrients,
Yeah.
because I feel good when I have it,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so funny how similar our stories are. That's my dad used to say the same thing. There's people on the other side of the world starving, and that's not to minimize, the food crisis that we do have, and that's another issue. It's unfortunately not going to be solved by you overstuffing yourself because there was, a large spoonful of food put on your plate. But yes, portion sizes are huge. If we can eat smaller amounts throughout the day, that's better. And it's interesting how there is no one size fits all, and that's the challenge. Is you and I could sit here and tell people what works for us, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for the next person. And our bodies are so complex and so different even at birth, and then all of the experiences that we have throughout our lives change the microbiome, and they change the dynamic internally. Your mindset creates your chemistry, and even that mood that you have while you eat is going to affect how you digest that food. And so it's really, really critically important to share that each individual get in touch with their intuition and get in touch with their body, because nobody's going to be able to give you the quick fix. And certainly calories in, calories out is always going to count, right? That's always going to matter. If you're eating more than you're burning, that's going to be an issue. But mindset is another huge, huge piece of it, as well as the quality of the food that you're putting in. So fruits and veggies, shop the outer aisles. That's kind of the safe recommendation, but it doesn't have to be a punishment. It's not, for me, I love it. There's so many, especially like you say, with the advent of the internet, there's so many fun recipes out there. There's so many ways to make a potato or to make a zucchini, or it doesn't have to be a salad, right? Veggies can be used in so many different ways to create so many different things. And dehydrators are really coming back as well, and the ways to make breads and chips and things that, if you need the crunch, fine, honor that. Just find the right crunch, right? There's a lot of new brands coming out where they're baking a sweet potato chip and only putting olive oil on it, and that's the only two ingredients are the sweet potato and the olive oil, and I think salt. And that's amazing. That's fine. That's great. So there's always ways to satisfy the craving. You should never have to be in a place of deprivation, like you say, starving yourself. It comes partially from a lack mindset, right? Even what our dad said, like, if you don't eat all this, you're going to starve, essentially was the message. And that's a lack mentality. So we have to be careful with that. But, beating yourself up, forcing yourself to run 5, 8, 10, 12, 21.2 miles, which I've done, that's coming from that place of, punish yourself, right? Like run,
Let me
run, run.
burn all
Right.
those carbs that I just ate.
Right. And so then you're coming back with this mindset of, okay, I've earned this one meal and I get to eat after I run, but then now I'm still going to feel guilty about everything else after that. And a woman I love, Dr. Carolyn Leaf, she primarily talks about mindset, but she also covers the medical science and proof behind what happens when you eat if you're angry, or when you eat if you're depressed, or if you eat when you're sad, and how the body will store that. And you're creating that cortisol, and telling the body essentially you're in fight or flight, and so that there is a lack, and so that you must store, right? So all of these different pieces are obviously very dynamic and specific to the individual. So it's important to have the right mindset, choose the right food, and love on your body and listen to your intuition. So
I love that. I love that. And I think what I would love for our viewers to go to come out with something, at least from this video, right, is like Rebecca said, what's worked for us might not work for you guys. But the one thing that I would probably say, with which has worked for me and my clients that I coach, is finding your why. Finding your why on why you want to lose weight, why you want to feel good, why you want to stop your, like, what you're doing and do something different, why you want to change your life, why you want to transform your life. So find your why. And how you find your why, obviously, is by sitting in your shit, basically, and writing down a lot of things on, like, your purpose and life purpose. And there are so many exercises to that, and obviously I coach on that, and Rebecca coaches on that as well. But, like, finding your why on why are we doing the things that we're doing, why have we been doing the things that we have been doing. And once you really reflect on the why, and why you're doing the things that you're doing, and knowing and being mindful about, obviously, what you've been doing for 20 years has not worked out, and just realizing that, and being ready to get vulnerable and hear something uncomfortable, or be ready to do something you've never tried before. Because that's our problem as humans, is that we just love to stay comfortable. We're scared to try something new because we don't know how it's going to go. We're afraid how we're going to feel, who we're going to lose along the way, and how we're going to do. So we love to stay comfortable. And that was me again. I just was in my comfort zone for many years. I was like, no, this is how my parents taught me to be and to eat, and this is what I know. I'm not going to change it. And so when I went through these hardships, I had to go and dig deep and know why I need to do this. Why do I need to lose weight? Is it because I want to attract a partner, or is it because I want to look good in a bikini, or is it because I want to get into my jeans, or is it because I want to feel good about myself and do it for myself? So that can go a long way with questioning yourself with that. And then once you're ready, or once you know your why, and you're ready to actually and this is tough to do as an adult, because I've been through it, to unlearn everything you were doing,
yeah.
and you thought you were doing it right because your family taught you. And again, nothing against family or parents, they did everything possible to make us, the best kids. So in their world, they were the best parents, and they are the best parents. But everything they taught you as a child until now, again, it goes into the programming of our minds. Everything you were taught as a child until now that you're taking with you has not been working out. So let's go ahead and unlearn all of that, with the respect for the family. You love your parents and your family, but
Yeah.
let's unlearn all of that, because it has not been working for you. And that's what I had to do. And it's very difficult, because your mind has been programmed for many years, let's say 30 years, 40 years, 50 years if you're older. And so going to unlearn and then learn all over again and welcome the new, even if you're experimenting, even if it's uncomfortable, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be like a new language for you. And once you start to learn the new, like, how do I eat healthier, how do I cut carbs, how do I minimize on sweets, how do I fix my energy levels, why do I have a headache all the time?
Yeah.
So once you start to welcome the new and see how you can experiment on your body, believe me, you're going to be just a new person. You're going to be a new person, because that's what happened to me. And I thought I was healthy, and the more I thought I knew things, the more I really didn't. Right?
Exactly.
Because it's like there's always a new way, there's always another way. And the way, if you're a woman out there, or a man actually, but mainly a woman, our bodies change all the time, and our hormones change all the time. So the way you lost weight in your 20s is not like the 30s, it's not like the 40s, it's not like the 50s, and that's part of life.
Yeah.
So that's fine, and it's okay, and you have to accept it. And that's how you have to learn how to work with your body, and what certain foods works for your body or not. And I know a lot of my clients, like, sometimes they have allergies that are incorporated in their bodies at a later age, like maybe in their 40s or maybe in
Wow.
their late 30s. Oh, all of a sudden I'm allergic from chocolate, or I'm allergic from bread. And
That's
I'm like, that's interesting, because that's how the body works, right?
mm.
So that's been my story, or a takeaway from this video for the people that are viewing. What's your takeaway, Rebecca, on for someone that's listening?
Oh gosh, I don't know about takeaway. Let me ponder that for a minute. I wanted to just second your point on the why, because that is so critically important, and we really have to be meticulous about digging deep on our why. And I like to recommend to my viewers the five whys exercise, to ask why not just once but five times. So if you're saying I want to run to be fit, well, why do you want to be fit? Because I feel unfit. Well, why do you feel unfit? Because I used to wear three sizes smaller. Well, why did you used to wear three sizes smaller? Right? We're getting deeper. There's a lot underlying that, and sometimes we say, I want to go for a run to be fit, and at the end of the day, it ends up because I don't like myself. That's why I go for a run. And so then the body knows that. It doesn't need the conscious mind to be aware, because the body really understands the true intention. And so then you're in resistance, right? You're fighting your body. And you don't want to be at odds with your body. You want to be in union, in a relationship together, and working as a team, right? So everything needs to be functioning and synergizing. And that why is so incredibly important. And I would venture to say that if it's anything outside of loving my body and wanting to make my body stronger, or to be the best that I can be, it's likely a negative intention, and therefore will not lead to the results that you're looking for. So we've got to find ways to love and accept ourselves as we are, and do things for the right reasons, because that's the only time we're ever going to get to the goals that we're trying to achieve. So the body hears, the body knows, the body hears you, and in fact the body is the first to know. The mind is often the last to know. And another thing you said, we're not designed to change. Our brains are designed to keep us safe, which is familiar, and our brains are not designed to make us happy, which leads to change, right? So that's where we have to be aware that the mind is not always our friend. And it's what do they say? The tail wagging the dog, right? Like, we are supposed to be managing our mind, managing our brain, and using it as a tool, right? It is there to serve us. It is not intended to run our lives. And that's, partially how our society has taught us in the past, and now we're starting to learn and come back around and shift our mindset. So yeah, you said so many good things I couldn't keep up. I needed to take notes. So
Sorry.
yeah. And deprivation. So if we're doing this for the right reason, we're saying I want to do this because I love myself, because I want to get stronger. Then every change we try to make, we should approach from a fun and loving place, right? If I need to eat less carbs, right? Maybe that's less crackers and bread, but I can still have zucchini or potatoes, or the things that are growing, right? The natural carbohydrates, grapes. One thing that's actually working for me right now is carb cycling, and that's relatively new for me. In my juice fasting and my fruitarian days, I very much learned that we need glucose, right? Even the FDA website will tell you we run off of glucose, right? So if you're constantly in a state of deprivation, which you would be if you're always eliminating all carbs, then you're going to be fighting against your body, and you're going to feel that constant push or desire to eat something you shouldn't. But if you give yourself, say, every third day a carb day, then you can have grapes and oranges and bananas and sweet potatoes and squash, and I love squash soup, right? So like feed yourself the healthy carbs, find ways to nourish that desire, and then go back to, on the off carb days, a healthy fat instead of a carbohydrate. And so then I have avocados and nuts and seeds, and just that cycling back and forth, it kind of keeps the body out of the familiar, so that it has to kind of keep shifting into how you burn calories. And that's worked very well for me, and I don't feel deprived. That place of deprivation where you feel like you're just pushing against everything you desire is not sustainable. You will crash, and unfortunately that's horrible for the mindset, because then you'll feel like I failed, and why do I even try anymore? And so we need to set ourselves up for success, not just nutritionally, but from a mindset perspective as well, and make sure that it's sustainable. If you like chocolate, you can have cacao powder in your shake. You can have, I absolutely love cherry banana chocolate shake for breakfast. It's amazing. It's awesome, right? It's lunchtime for me too. Intermittent fasting is another good one. It's lunchtime, so yeah, just find ways to naturally and healthily, I think that's a word, healthily,
Yeah.
healthfully, to nourish and satisfy those cravings, because they're there for a reason. Your body does need something. It's just, if we push it too far, you're going to crash and grab the chips because that's the first thing available, instead of making a plan and allowing yourself the grapes and the bananas and whatever else you need to satisfy it before it gets to a breaking point. So.
I love that last thing that you said, and you're right. Nutrition, or the way we eat, has or it needs to become a lifestyle. So then, because I get clients that are like, okay, Merv, I'm ready to do this and let's do it, and they're full on in, for like a month, and then 5 weeks, and then they're about to like go down into that rabbit hole, into their old habits, into their
Yeah.
comfort zone. And then that's when I'm like, no, 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 come on, we got to get back on track. So make sure that you're not only doing this temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
like it's not another, keto diet, or it's not
Diet.
another
Yeah.
starvation diet. This is not what we're coaching on. This is not what we're here to help you with. We're here to help you in changing your lifestyle, in transforming your lifestyle, getting rid of the old and welcoming the new. So this is like a mind, body, soul transformation. And that's what I wanted to emphasize on, because this is a lifestyle that you're doing. So instead of like binging on sugar or carbs or whatever, how about we start to binge on veggies or something else? And again, it took me a while to understand how I can go from not from starving myself and then eating sugar or carbs and feeling okay, alive again, or that slice of pizza and I'm good because I'm trying to lose weight here. Like I'm not gonna eat anything all day, but then I'll have a pizza and I'm good. That's so wrong. That
Yeah.
is so wrong.
Yeah.
Little did I know. Into transforming my nutrition and my life into being able to eat 5 meals. Yes, 5 meals a day. And when I say 5 meals, there are snacks in between, and again, their portion, um, bowl. Luz wanted to make sure clear as well.
For some reason, it's cutting out.
Am I losing you? Are
Yeah.
you there?
So,
Wait, did you hear everything I said, or I lost you?
I heard 5 meals. I'm wondering why it's having a hard time. Let's try it now.
Okay, I
Can
can
Is it
hear
okay
you back.
now? Yeah, I think it
Okay,
came back.
yeah,
Okay. So
yeah.
maybe say what you were saying about you have 5 meals a day.
Yeah, so I learned how to have 5 meals a day and still be able to lose weight and feel good about myself. So it's not about how much, you don't eat or how much you eat throughout the day, as much as how much of a lifestyle change you have. And then the consistency of keeping that body going. right? Because it's like, think about it, it's like a car. Our bodies are like a car. If you don't, take care of the car, maintenance and gas, and change the tires and give it a wash, clean it or give it a wash, then the car's gonna fall apart.
Right.
It's gonna fall apart. The same as the body. With the wear and tear, the body's gonna fall apart if you're not giving the body the right nutrients, right? So what we do is we go from the inside out, opposed from the outside in. So we work
Yes.
from the inside, and then as you fix or you work on the inside, it's gonna show on the outside. Your skin is gonna clear. You're not gonna age as fast anymore because you're not putting all that junk into your body. You're gonna really start to feel the energy levels, and even the even your blood pressure, your blood sugar, like all this stuff that we take medication for. That's all gonna be balanced
Yeah.
once you start to work from the inside out.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's incredible what happens to your blood sugar when you have, say, a bread or a cracker or some kind of processed food. The spike in insulin and how that triggers the body to store fat, and it also makes you more hungry. So you've totally messed with your body's regulating system where you think you're hungry for more crackers, but you're actually not. It's because of what you already ate that's causing that. And then your body's going to store the fat because of the insulin spike.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and people are finally starting to talk more about it, the connection between how we feel and what we eat, and how
Mhm.
delicate our microbiome is. And when we put, say, a cracker or a processed food in our body, how that actually damages and kills the healthy bacteria, and that can cause anxiety. Where people who have depression have been able to heal their depression or their anxiety purely through diet, where when the healthy, oh, are you losing, is it work?
Your voice is still going, but your picture froze, but
Oh,
I can
okay.
still.
Hopefully.
Yeah, now you're back.
Okay. Yeah, it's just incredible how the microbiome is so sensitive, and that when we put the wrong foods in it, we will feel it. And people often feel like, oh, I'm tired because I ate a big meal. It's just normal. It's actually not normal. That we shouldn't feel exhausted after we eat our food. And if you start to notice which foods make you feel tired, you'll have a real clue into what your body doesn't care for or what you may need to eat in smaller portions. But I can eat 2, 3, 4 cups of grapes and never feel tired.
Mm.
It's not heavy. It doesn't require all of my body's energy to go rush and take care of that. But if I were to eat a cheeseburger, God forbid, I would feel sick. I would have to take a nap. I'd have to lay down. Even my kids, they're still young enough that their microbiome is still pretty healthy, and I try to make sure that they eat all the right things when I'm in control. Um, and they'll say like, oh, I feel so tired, and they're 4 and 6. These kids have tremendous amounts of energy, way more than I ever could. And it's the food that will slow you down. So just start to notice when you feel really, really tired and what you ate, and that'll start to kind of fill in the puzzle for you as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting with when it comes to eating crappy food, you feeling crappy, opposed to eating healthy food and then you're feeling healthy and good. And
Yeah,
it's really you are what you eat at the end of the day.
yeah.
If you're gonna binge on junk food and alcohol all day,
Oh,
and go a happy hour, after work every day, I don't miss those days at all.
no.
They were fun while they lasted, but I
Yeah,
don't miss those days at all because I used to feel like shit,
yeah,
after, and I just thought this is part of my lifestyle.
yeah.
Like I'm supposed to feel that way because I'm living that way, opposed to where I am now and how food is so like related to my everyday lifestyle, and
Mm.
I plan accordingly because I want to feel good all the time. And it's funny because a lot of my followers or my friends are like, Merv, you always have motivation, you're always positive, like how do you do it? I'm like, I'm not perfect, I'm still a human, I still have my moments and I still have my days, but nutrition and how I start my day, how you do one thing is how you do everything, is so important to my lifestyle, that keeps my vibrations up high on moving forward instead of going back to the old.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very
Yeah.
important.
It's really interesting how when you get clean enough that you are in a place where you're, 90-95% of the time we're happy, we're healthy, we're doing good, we have the energy we need. Yeah, there's going to be some days here and there, but it is a majority that we feel good and a minority that we don't feel good. And when you get to that clean place, you notice, right? Like I bought a kombucha the other day and I was drinking it, and all of a sudden I started to feel like really antsy and I couldn't sit still. And I was like, I feel like I have anxiety. And I looked at the label on the kombucha and there was a fake sugar in there. It was like a false sweetener. And I had never, I haven't had false sweeteners for years. And I never realized how, how strong that impact was, how impactful it was on my body, how quickly I instantly went from like having a great day to like, whoa, I don't feel happy or comfortable in my skin. And it was, that much of the can. And it
That's
was,
interesting.
yeah, it's just incredible. And I certainly enjoyed my glass of wine for many, many years, probably too many glasses of wine, and I did not want to quit. And it was something where I had to use willpower and I had to have discipline and I had to love myself enough. Self love is not always bubble baths and nail polish, right? Like sometimes self
Yeah.
love is, I am not going to buy that wine anymore. And, there was discipline involved in the beginning, but now I'm in such a good place that I would not dare put any toxin in my body. Like I don't want it. I don't need it. I love myself enough to not, I don't want to feel bad. Why would I? There's just no lure anymore. So when you start to get clean, you start to feel more and more of what's going to impact you negatively. And then it's just so much easier to say, I don't really want it. I don't want to do that to myself. I don't want to feel crappy. So
I
enough
love
with
it.
the hangover days. I'm done.
Yes, yes. And again, for the viewers that are listening, this did not come handy for Rebecca and I. Like we had to go through the worst to love ourselves and to appreciate that, we have a healthy body to kind of like take care of it. And it all came from our why. And I'm sure, Rebecca's been through the same, is when you go through your why, like you said, and I love what you said on the five whys. Keep asking why and why and why until you dig deeper. It might come off as a little bit annoying that you're asking so many questions. Why are you asking so many questions? Because again, the mind wants to stay comfortable. They don't want to feel vulnerable.
Yeah.
So once you start to ask the whys and really find out if you really care enough about yourself or your kids even to take care of yourself, because again, a lot of my clients also come to me and they're like, which are olders or like older people or like maybe grandparents. Oh, I want to feel good. I want to take care of myself now for my grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you feel called to take that leap of faith and take care of yourself, everything else will fall into place. And then
Yeah.
you're just gonna learn how to live a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
So yes, I love this, and thank you, Rebecca, so much for sharing your experience on this. And
Yeah.
this is a topic that we can probably write books and talk about for days.
Yeah, yeah. There was a couple other things I wanted to share that came to mind when you were saying that is some of the older generations I think have been under the impression that genetics are something outside of our control and that you may be predispositioned to be overweight or you may be big boned and that's just this curse that you have to live with.
Right,
And
right.
it's not true. It's actually not true that our bodies are not designed to be overweight. That if we feed it healthy food, raw as often as possible, but certainly just beautiful vegetables and fruits and any combination that you can come up with, on a majority of the basis, if you eat healthy the majority of the time, you are not cursed to be big boned or overweight for the rest of your life. That your body naturally wants to release the excess weight and fat. Typically, fat is there to pull toxins away from your vital organs. So the fat absorbs the toxins, and the more it has to absorb, the greater space that it needs to make between the toxin and your vital organs, the more fat you will gain. And so if you just keep eating negative food, things that the body can't process and it needs to deal with in some way, you're going to keep packing on the weight. So as you detoxify and as you eat healthy foods, you're going to start to release that excess fat, but also inflammation. You mentioned this earlier too, and I wanted to touch on that. I can tell my fingers will swell if I eat something that my body didn't like, or if it's too much salt or something like that. So
Wow.
inflammation, especially in the face, in the joints, in the ankles, when we get arthritis or things that, I mean, I think 99% of illnesses and disease are caused by inflammation. And so it's not always food. Certainly there's environmental toxins that we're dealing with as well. But as we start to release all of these unnatural things from our body, we start to purify our body, we will release not only the fat, but as well the inflammation. And we said, shop the outer aisles. That's always the easy way to say it, but there's going to be times you got to go in the inner aisles, right? So read the labels. That's the other really, really critical piece, is try to understand all of those ingredients. And if you don't know what they are, don't buy it, because that is not real food. It is not something your body is designed to handle. And that's going to be your safest bet. And I would love to hear your daily routine. I'll share mine real quick, but I'm a big fan of the medical medium. He talks a lot about
Yeah.
detoxing and
Yeah.
natural foods, and he mentioned that if we can at least wait until noon to have fat, we lengthen the time that our body naturally is in a detoxing mode. So while we sleep, and then early into the morning hours, and then if we can extend it to lunch, we can continue to detox that entire time. So if you can have a low to no fat breakfast, you
Mhm.
can extend your detoxing time. So I love shakes for breakfast. Like I said, cherries, chocolate, a protein powder, and bananas, and that's amazing. I love to intermittent fast is actually kind of what I'm doing right now. So I'll intermittent fast up until noon, and then have a salad, and then just focus on whether or not it's a carb day or a high fat day, and have 2 or 3 meals after that. So it's actually a myth that your metabolism slows down when you don't eat. Well, that's not necessarily true. If you're constantly starving yourself, it will slow down. But if you're only intermittent fasting, say until noon, you're not harming your metabolism, and you're actually giving your body more time to cleanse, purify, and release. So I would say those are some of my tips and tricks.
I love that. Yeah, that's actually it's interesting, and it's funny because I've tried intermittent fasting before, and I think I want to experiment on it as well because of the many experiments that I've done.
Mm.
But thank you for sharing that. That's very informative. So for me, yes, for me would be all right. So for me, I'm a firm believer on eating at least every 2 to 3 hours, because I grew up with slow metabolism. You're gaining weight because you're no genetics, because you're
Mm.
thick boned, and all that BS that you hear throughout your years. So I was like, no, I'm gonna prove my body wrong here and do this on my own. So I
Yes.
was able to obviously follow this, and among with any other stuff, and it's worked on my body. And then I was like, look, family, look, friends, I'm not thick boned. I'm not genetically, meant to stay like big and fat and all of that, right? So for me, as soon as I wake up, I must have a glass of warm water.
Yes,
I
lemon
got
water.
used to that. I got used to that. And if you don't like the taste of water, which I know many people that don't like the taste of water, which blows my mind, but you can always put lemon or ginger or whatever you need to do in order for you to drink it. So I break my fast, because what's a break fast? It's breaking the fast because you're sleeping for 7, 8, 9 hours, and your body's dehydrated. So the first thing we need to put in our body, not coffee, caffeine, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to put water because it's dehydrated. So I chug that water and I look forward to it because I love water. And then 30 minutes later, I go ahead and I have a black coffee. And again, my old self was light and sweet with cream.
Yep.
Now black all the way. And I love it. And I love the taste of it. So black coffee works for me. And then an hour after that, I go and I have a small breakfast. And again, I used to come from like a full-on breakfast, like eggs and pancakes and bacon and bread and bagels, to having like an apple, peanut butter. That's my breakfast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people are like, what? That's not going to fill me up. Trust me,
Yeah.
it will fill you up because it's going to give you the nutrients that the body needs to continue moving forward, the energy. Your energy levels are just going to like go through the roof here. So I will have like an apple and peanut butter. And then an hour to 2 hours later, I'll have a snack. What's a snack? It's not a piece of chocolate.
No.
It's not a bag of chips. A snack can be celery. It can be a vegetable. It can be another fruit that's not high in sugar. So like maybe not watermelon yet if you're trying to lose weight, but more of like have a piece of a peach or a pear, or an orange
Yeah.
even, right? Yeah, so go through a snack that way, or even a veggie, a broccoli, like a cup of broccoli or celery, something again that's going to give you the nutrients. And then an hour or two later, I'll have lunch. And what's lunch? Again, it's not carbs for me, because let's say I'm someone that doesn't work out, I'm not going to have carbs because I'm not burning it. So I can actually fill my body with protein and veggies, and I'm actually full. I'm satisfied. I don't need to stuff my face with like a lot of food, right? So I'm satisfied because I know in 2 hours I'm going to have a snack. So I'll have another snack, celery, broccoli, just throwing things out there. And then after that, I'll have dinner. And again, dinner consists of a protein and veggie if I'm not working out. If I'm someone that's working out constantly and burning calories, then I'll incorporate carbs. It can be rice, it can be quinoa, it can be a small, half a cup of pasta.
Sweet potato.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but that has worked so well for me, and I'm having a lot of food throughout the day. So that's another thing with our mentality, is that let me have a heavy breakfast because I'm not going to eat for 4 hours, right? Or let me have a heavy lunch because I'm not going to have dinner the rest of the day. And that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong for the body. Again, think of the body like a car. The body needs fuel. The car needs fuel. It's not going to drive 6 hours without you putting fuel in it. Same as the body. In order for you to consistently build your metabolism and energy levels, you need to continue fueling, right? And yeah, and experiment with your body. So that's been definitely working for me.
Yeah, and there's a mindset piece in there too when you mention like, oh, the apple won't fill me up. That's your belief. That's not your stomach. That's your mind saying, I need more. But really, if you eat the apple and the peanut butter and you wait 20 minutes and check back in and see, are you hungry? You're not going to be hungry.
I love that.
Had
Yes.
enough. And so when we have the giant breakfast, we've stretched our stomach out, and then we have a false hunger that comes 2, 3 hours later, anyways, because the body needs to continue to put some more in after 2, 3 hours. So you've already just had too much. So you're kind of um, at a deficit for the rest of the day, calorie wise. So yeah, I'm not a big calorie counter. I'll throw that in there. I'm a ballpark calorie counter. I kind of want to know generally where I'm at, but I don't think that we should watch it to the calorie because that again creates more mindset issues. So
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, this is really, again, like we can go on for days talking about this,
yeah,
but
yeah,
this is our experiences for Rebecca and I hope you guys, are gonna benefit from this video, or at least come out with one thing and take action. I mean, that's my takeaway. Take action, get uncomfortable, do something crazy and different. And when I say crazy and different, something like eating an apple for breakfast that you've never ever tried before. You're
exactly.
like a veggie fruit hater, and you hate this stuff. Try something new.
Yeah,
Eat an apple, even if you don't like it. Eat and see how you feel. Experiment with your body. Take action.
yeah. Make a plan.
Make
Don't
a
make a plan. Don't get to the point where you're hungry. Know what you're gonna do throughout the day so that you're not in a place where you break. So thank you, Merv, so much. I really, really love chatting with you, and we could talk food and nutrition all day, obviously. So I would love to hear from our viewers. Do you try any of these right now? What works for you? Share with the community. Know that by sharing, you're helping. And so sharing is caring.
Yes, sharing is caring. Please share. The more you share, the more we're going to put content out there that's related to this. And
Yes.
please don't forget to subscribe for both channels as well, up
Yeah.
there or down there, whatever they are.
Yes. Yes. And I think over here, and then there'll be links. Yeah, we'll put links in the comments or the description box for anybody who wants to reach out to Merv and I for coaching on this as well. So,
All
all right.
right.
Thank you, Merv.
Bye. See you.
Bye. Take
Bye.
care.